we're packaging it up and putting it together and getting all of our resources. Check out the new website, ZachRector.com, is because we want you guys to be in a safe space where you can actually learn how to position yourself in the digital asset space. This is a new asset class. But then what I've been doing too over the bear market is expanding our content out to include all of the asset classes, including the equity stock market, including real estate. And then as always, we show you how we hustle the businesses too. Now's a great time to start your business, start your side hustle, get in the game. It does take work. It's not going to come easy, but during this bear market recession, we see a lot of people giving up. A lot of people calling it quits, losing faith. And then we see a chosen few who are doubling down, taking advantage, buying businesses, starting businesses, positioning themselves within the real estate asset class, positioning their 401k out of the program that's a complete failure. And this is resulting in haircuts in the 401ks and the retirement accounts that's going to be tough to make back. Remember, Americans lost $6 trillion worth of wealth last year. That's what breaks my heart. Okay. And so that's why I put out content every single day, is so that we can save the old folks. No disrespect. It's all love. We got people in our community all the way from the young bucks, 20 years old, all the way up to 70 plus. And so we got to protect the wealth for those that got the bag. And for those that are building, we are in it every single day with you. That's where I'm at. You guys know me. I move in the most transparent effort as we cover this news on a daily basis. And if you appreciate it, if you can do me a favor, all we ask is that you smash that thumbs up and then share it far and wide. Now, I'm going to share this one out real quick on Twitter, and then I'm going to get rocking and rolling. Thank you so much for joining me. My apologies. There we go. All right. So the market is back up. That's why we put in a pump in the title. I'm not here to clickbait you. I'm not here to mess around with you. We don't have time to play around during the bear market recession. Now, thankfully, we are starting to rally. And when you look at the cryptocurrency space, we move up 5, 10, 20%. And in the crypto space, we don't even consider that a pump. People are mad that I put pump in the title. Well, if you look at where we've rallied off the bottom, it's 127%, about 130% on this bear market rally. That's a pump by any standard, right? 120, 130%, that's a pump. Is it fair to call that a pump? Today, we're up another few percent. I'm going to show you guys where we're at on the charts. We get the decision from Fed Powell here today, and then we also have additional news on the current events front, along with additional Ripple news to cover as well. So it's all happening here tonight. We already got a 5 spot from our man Young Quavo in the house tonight. Big 5 spot. Appreciate that love. Cheers, everyone. We are sipping something tonight, a little bit of secret sauce, and we're going to get it rocking and rolling. I wanted to give everyone a minute to get in here, so appreciate you guys for stopping by. Let's roll. Okay. Let's get it. 35,600 for our Bitcoin. Back up as we speak, actually. Since we fired up the live, Bitcoin is pumping right now. 1856 for your Ethereum, and XRP is at a 61-cent level. We are finally back up again here, taking a look at the charts. So this is your monthly chart. We just closed that monthly candle for October, and you can see this thing. We rallied all the way up to 69,000 November 2021. We started to warn about the coming bear market in December, and sure enough, we get a 40% liquidation event. We begin the long and treacherous current bear market that we are in. Now, last year in November, basically a year from where we're at here today, November 8th to be exact, it was the day that Sam Bankman-Fried's Ponzi scheme got exposed and he was completely sacrificed. We take Bitcoin back down to 15,000, and like I said, we have rallied about 130%. Let's pull the current numbers right here. So we officially are up 130% during this Bitcoin spot ETF fake out look out, and a whole lot of stablecoin manipulation to get us back up here. Now, stablecoin manipulation and exchange market maker manipulation got us up to 69K for Bitcoin. This asset has performed incredibly well over the last decade or so of its existence. It's very incredible. Now, the narrative that this thing is the end-all be-all is obviously a facade, is obviously a pitch from those that have been in on this asset from a much earlier price, or they're new to crypto and they don't understand that there's all sorts of utility assets as well. But as you can see here, we did this 336% bull trap rally during 2019. That was a bear trap rally, bull trap rally, right? Because we're trapping the bulls. The bulls got trapped in as we pumped 340%. Now, under anybody's definition, that would be a pump, right? But then we got set up in March 2020 back down to 3,800 in the blink of an eye. And that's where I'm trying to remind folks to remain vigilant right now as we find ourselves in the second year of this bear market. Remember, 2022 was the first year of this bear market. It brought us down to 15,500 last year. Okay. We've rallied this year, just like we did back in 2019, we've rallied 130%. Not quite as exciting as the 340%, but we might not be done, right? If this thing wants to extend up, let me pull this here. Let's make sure we're right there. My apologies. Let's pull this thing, right? We want to go a couple 100%. We go up to 40, 45,000. If we go up 200%, you want to do another 300% rally. Okay, let's pretend that we're going to do that. It does take us back above 60K. And anything is in the cards here still, as long as we have the manipulation. That's what we've been tracking in the cryptocurrency space. Later here, I'm going to show you guys how the SEC is getting publicly shamed as we speak. And we are about to break through, and we are about to see utility. So if Bitcoin was able to take itself to, 69,000 off of a little bit of narrative, a little bit of speculation, and essentially no utility, it can go back up and beyond as we get speculation and utility this coming bull run. That's why I'm not one that's saying Bitcoin's going to crash right now before we enter the next bull run. I'm not into Bitcoin has to crash or nearly go to zero. I'm not in that really camp, even though that is, it's going to struggle as these stable coins do get reined in. And we've seen it do 300% rallies in the past before it gets killed, before it gets sacrificed, before we get made fun of once again by the rest of the mainstream media, right? That just has been bashing crypto, the Elizabeth Warrens of the world that are coming in to kill this space. And the Gary Genslers and the SEC bureaucracy beast, the securities arm of this bureaucracy beast coming after legitimate companies like Ripple. The incumbents were threatened, so let's go after the biggest threat first. Why do you think they went after Ripple and they fought and they drugged this thing out? What should have just been a very simple, easy fine for the investment contracts and move on, which Ripple might be able to fight this thing all the way and actually win this thing. That's the beautiful thing about where we're at in this lawsuit right now, is we've essentially won on every single point besides the institutional sales, which Ripple still has a great case to make there. That's the beautiful thing about that positioning. On top of that, we've been shaming them publicly with the corruption that we've been exposing. We try to do this in a very respectful, appropriate manner, even though it is absolutely disgraceful what they have been doing. So we try to keep it professional. We try to keep it clean for YouTube and for TikTok and Twitter, and we don't want to get in trouble as we try to cover this this corruption. We have the likes of Digital Asset Investor taken down. And it reminds me back, my whole content story starts in 2021 when I got kicked off of Twitter. I got kicked off of Twitter, and for no reason. All I was posting was essentially crypto content at that point, and for whatever reason, I get kicked off of Twitter. That's what inspired me to start on TikTok. And then the rest is history. Now we do TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, the whole 9 yards. But my motivation was I finally got silenced on TikTok or Twitter. And so then we started making TikToks. So we blew up right away and the rest is history. But now we see Digital Asset Investor. I mean, what has he said on Twitter that's worthy of getting taken down for, right? Nothing. Other than he's directly over the target. That's it. He is directly over the target, just like our community has been as a whole. Now we're finally winning. And it's not our fault that the SEC is getting publicly shamed. It's an absolute joke the way that they've been operating that, agency, the regulatory arm that's supposed to ensure the golden standard of capital markets. So here we are. This is the current timeline with Bitcoin rallying back up to 35,000. The whole space is excited. I'm on the sidelines. I'm not trading this thing. I am calling for this thing to come back down. I don't think that this thing is going to be going straight on up from here to setting a new all-time high. But nonetheless, Bitcoin, we will pay respect as it surpassed $100 trillion in value settled. Respect. And it has rallied significantly this year, but we're also tracking the stablecoins that are getting issued at all these exchanges. This is still going on, and it's not just Tether. See, I heard one of the Bitcoin maxis say that Tether market cap has actually been decreasing. And so the theory, the crazy conspiracy that we have that Tether has been backing Bitcoin is false because Tether has been going down this year and Bitcoin's been growing. Well, sure. That's because USDC is taking more market cap and everyone's flying out of anything that's sketchy. And Bitfinex, the issuer of Tether, is one of the most sketchy operations. And it's actually been proven to be a deceptive and manipulative company in a U.S. court of law, New York Attorney General. And they've already come to that. And there's been multiple cases on that company. So yeah, you could make that case, but you look and it's very clear what's happening. Everybody's not trusting Tether. USDC has grown on more people, but then also go look at all of the other additional stablecoins that have been issued. True USD. We covered it at the beginning of this year. Binance USD at the Paxos Treasury, getting printed hundreds of millions of dollars of Paxos Treasury at a time. Binance USD. See, all these different stablecoins. It wasn't just Tether. And they're all paired up with Bitcoin. Now, when you look at XRP, Tether is the largest trading pair by about 50%. But that's how the cryptocurrency space is trading right now, right? Tether is the largest trading pair for almost every currency in existence. Tether has been the number one stablecoin for the past few years. USDC is gaining market cap, and I think that they're legitimate. I think that they're working with the regulators, and they most likely will pass through. There's a reason why they're growing. Now, does Tether go bust? We'll see. But nonetheless, for me, Bitcoin bros, have a good time. What I'm so excited for this rally is we get speculation and utility starts to be realized. That's what's so exciting for this moment. I want you guys to be hanging in there right now. I know our community's so focused and locked in, and we're all getting excited. But if we do pull back, if we do correct, we're unemotional, we buy the dip, if that's what we want to do, right? Not financial advice here, but you guys know what I'll be doing. If we get that pullback below, 50 cents again, if we get pullbacks for these utility assets, we're taking advantage of every single one. With Bitcoin leading the show based off of a spot ETF narrative that I believe is going to get delayed, that's what I'm preparing us for right now. I continue to caution this community, even though the popular thing to do as a content creator is to just be putting out pump hopium. This is the next bull run. This is it. Good times forever. Start picking out your yacht now. And we maybe are taking a look at some of that stuff because we know that we will be building real wealth. But I see our community once again, everybody's getting excited. Everybody's getting bullish, right? But you look around, what we had here today is the announcement from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. I'm going to show you how this impacted markets. Crypto back up. As we covered Bitcoin, take a look. Once again, pumping as we speak, back up to 35,800. When I started my rant 17 minutes ago, we were at 35,400. So just since we've been ranting for 17 minutes here, we're already back up to 35,890. Pushing, pumping. Love to see it. XRP, 61 cents. 6127 back up to start. This is monthly, guys, way zoomed out. Remember, $2 suppressed high for XRP during the last bull run, an absolute joke. A coin that did tens of thousands of % gain during the 2017 bull run. Only doing this gain was obvious suppression, clear as day. One of the few projects that was tied up in a real legal battle while still building out utility. But based off of the suppression, we were only able to make $2 happen. This thing's absolutely primed to rip back up to $1. Huge exit liquidity comes back in around $1. back around $1.50 to $2. Absolutely. And so what we're going to be watching for is for this thing, we're waiting for it to break above this $2 level, and then all-time high is all that's left, right? Once we break out of that $1.70 to $2 range, nothing is left but all-time high for XRP. Until then, this thing's volatile, this thing's violent, and get it while you can under 50 cents, which, you know, maybe we will never go below 50 cents once again. You never know with an asset like this. It's the same thing with gold and silver, funny enough. Now, today we see the DXY back down here again, and that was based off of Fed Chair Jerome Powell pausing rates once again. So the DXY, the dollar index, down, US 2-year Treasury bonds down, and US 10-year, big red candle to start off the month. How about that? Brent oil, still sideways, was back down last month a little bit after the rally back up to about $95 per barrel in September. We cooled off last month, basically back down to about 85. And here we sit at 85 as we start the next month. But this thing's ready to move again as we're back at $23 for silver. This thing ranged between about $24 and $20 at one point last month. Remember, at one point last month, silver got hit along with gold. Remember those liquidation days for gold? Back down to 1810 last month for gold. Historical move incoming. There's a reason why I put it on the chart. There's a reason why I've focused on having the affiliates that I do have. And by the way, I am officially an owner of some gold. One of our community members sent me a Utah gold back, which is 1/1000th of a troy ounce of 24 karat gold. I didn't even realize that this was real until I showed the live chat the other night, and they said, sure enough, it is real. I've been stacking silver. I can now say I officially own some gold, and this thing was back down to 1800 last month. Incredible buying opportunity. Now the premiums are going up, and we have a couple affiliates for rolling over your 401k or getting it shipped directly to you. Right now, I mean, we're seeing gold back at 2,000. It's ready to make a historical move. And so I'm not telling you to chase green candles, but last month, we went all the way back down to 1810. We were at 1,800 for gold last month. And this is the thing with the precious metals here. They're still rigged big time. We're seeing huge draining of the vaults. The COMEX silver vaults got drained another 1.18 million ounces yesterday. They were back down again slightly today. Yesterday, they were down another million ounces. So every week, we're seeing at least 1 or 2 days where they come clean out $1 million ounces. Not $1 million, 1 million ounces of silver out of the COMEX vaults. We're seeing a premium at the Shanghai market over there in China. They're paying a premium. They're taping it to their bellies as they try to escape the country, literally. We are seeing a flight to quality. And this is why Bitcoin, the alternative to digital assets. Everybody is learning about digital assets. Everybody's learning about NFTs, crypto, metaverse, AI. How do I get in on this? Everybody's used to not even going into the bank anymore. Everybody's, just playing with money on their phone, and they come to Bitcoin first. Bitcoin rallies back up to 35,000 here based off this spot ETF that is looming. And then we see the stocks. Okay. Stocks actually rallied back today, funny enough. And this is based off of the Fed pivot. This is based off of Jerome Powell saying that we're going to pause rate increases again. And there's a chance that he might raise rates one more time this year. But the market is starting to call the Fed's bluff. The market is starting to call the pivot. We already have a soft pivot confirmed, and we're already back up to $423 for NVIDIA, pumping up today about 379, about 4% today for NVIDIA. Remember, that's a pretty big move for the stocks. Now the S&P 500 back up today as well. This thing's already technically in a correction. Technically, you've already entered a bear market, a little bit of a rally, kind of like Bitcoin, but I'm expecting this thing to chop down even further when we do realize what's really taking place here. What we're seeing, down 22% correction for the Dow Jones, and we're back up for the Dow again today. So remember, this candle right here that you're seeing is the new month, guys. This is only 1 day. Back up, though, for all of them. The S&P 500, your NVIDIA, the Magnificent 7, and for the overall cryptocurrency market cap, back up to 1.3, basically back up to $1.3 trillion here today for the overall cryptocurrency market cap. Now, this is where we bring it on back to our main one that we're watching is Bitcoin, 35,700. We have volume stepping in a little bit right now as we speak. We're recording this one. It's about 8 o'clock on the West Coast. We're just about to break this one down. I see a 5 spot here from XR Peaky Blinder. What you talking about, Gold Willis? Good evening, Z and family. XR Peaky, I appreciate you, brother. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for joining me here tonight. Appreciate the love and support. We're going to run it up. Appreciate you guys. I didn't even know that those were real. Okay, so we get the Fed decision. Here's your summary. Fed leaves rate unchanged for second straight time. The Fed pivot is here. Jerome Powell's going soft. Daddy Powell's going to take it easy on us now. Fed will assess extent of additional tightening. Now, that's been the line that he's been dropping every single meeting, right? That they're going to assess the extent of additional tightening, of inflation. They're going to assess the extent of this, of that. And it's really, they created us basically a mess that they don't know how to get out of. They don't know how bad it's going to get. They don't know what's going to break based off of the rug pull that they already did with interest rates. Tighter credit conditions continue to weigh on economy. Fed will continue to assess additional information. Once again, we don't know what we did, so we need more information. Inflation target remains. Basically, we have no control. We got to see what we broke here before we make our next decision. Inflation target remains at 2%. Yeah, good luck with that one. The Fed is bracing for a long pause. Yeah, you bet. You bet they want a long pause. We'll see if they get it. But we're going to be watching this one here as we see the stocks did rally today, as I shared with you guys earlier. Let me check that. Appreciate the super chats, by the way, guys. Much love. Stocks rallied because of Fed's pals. Stocks rallied because Fed pals didn't nudge markets harder on potential rate hikes. I think that they made an error there. Fed pals' decision didn't nudge markets harder on potential rate hike, I think is how that should read. Onus is on the data to determine further tightening, Jefferies economist says. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's uncertainty over whether policymakers have raised rates enough didn't stand in the way of a rally for both stocks and bonds on Wednesday. Well, the 2 and the 10 that I showed were actually down, so I don't know what rally they're talking about. But nonetheless, the Fed on Wednesday left interest rates unchanged for a second straight meeting, as expected. In September, the policy setting Federal Open Market Committee's so-called dot plot forecast penciled in one more rate rise for 2023. On Wednesday, Powell said policymakers were asking themselves whether they had hiked enough and said they weren't confident rates were yet restrictive enough. That means the Fed is going to take it meeting by meeting, weighing the data as it decides whether it needs to make another move. Powell had several opportunities to threaten another rate hike, but passed on most of them. Yeah, this is the thing. See, the Dow Jones rose about 0.7%, the S&P 500 rose 1.1%, and the NASDAQ Composite rose 1.6%. Stocks rallied, bonds, kind of bounced, but the problem is that no one's going to be buying these bonds. No one's going to be giving the United States any more debt. We're not going to lend to you anymore, which is what a treasury bond is, what a T-bill is. And that's why everyone's moving to short-term durations. All the big hitters like Warren Buffett and others, they're in market. They're basically in market funds, basically just cash money market funds, and they're in short-term T-bills. Essentially all that is. And you're talking 3 month, you're talking 6 month, you're talking 1 year, 2 year at most. And this is why we have the yield curve inversion, is because nobody wants to lend the U.S. government a 10-year bond, a 20, 30-year bond. Nobody wants to do that deal. Mustafa Moo, thank you for the 5 spot. Mustafa, I see you for your first super chat. That's your first one, Mustafa. I appreciate you, my friend. Much love. What you drinking, Zach? Crown Royal? I am not drinking. This is I bought this. This is like some nicer stuff that I got for the what day did I buy that? The day that the SEC surrendered the charges against Brad and Chris, the executives. I bought it, but I didn't pop it because the market hadn't pumped. But I did bust into that as we've started our rally here some pretty good bourbon. I forget what it's called. I'll update you next live show. But it's pretty good stuff. This is what we're watching, though, right now. Markets rally, but nobody wants to deal with the U.S. The U.S. is being stranded, and what we see here is the United States getting spread out thin. I'm going to show you this. Current events, we have the U.S. Marine Corps Central Command's 248th ball is canceled due to unforeseen operational commitments and the nature of our current mission. So the military operations are underway, as we've been talking about. What's being shown publicly for the mainstream media, for the masses, is they're being primed, right, for the United States that we have to go to war. We have to. It shouldn't be voted on. It shouldn't be up for debate. I shouldn't be questioning about this. I should be getting right in line. We should probably fire up another draft, and I should sign up for service and get ready to go on overseas here, because the United States has to spread itself billions of dollars more to Israel, more military equipment to Israel, billions and tens of billions and hundreds of billions to Ukraine. And that's fine. Everybody can have a program. Everybody can want to fund this or that. That's all fantastic. I wish we could just give money out to everybody. We are broke. We are bust. And nobody wants to buy our treasury bonds, i.e., no one wants to issue us debt. We aren't going to be able to continue running these deficits. This is not a sustainable path. The reason why the dollar is losing traction, even though it is the cleanest shirt in the closet, is because people are doing everything possible to get away from it. It just got announced this week. I saw that Zimbabwe was extending its use of the US dollar until 2030 because they can't de-dollarize completely yet. That's fine. Right? But they've already gone to a gold-backed currency. See, what the US dollar maxis and the mainstream pundits pick up on is that Zimbabwe is being forced to use the US dollar till 2030. That's not the case. You have to understand what's actually taking place in that country. They've already issued gold-backed currency. They've already moved away from the US dollar for as much as possible. But you still have some US debt obligations. You still have some, use of the US dollar. Sure. I'm not for any government really telling a person what, currency they can or can't use. How about we let the best currency win, like we are supposed to be doing in a free market capitalist system? But what we're seeing right now, folks, is the next move. I try to take a deep breath here. May God be with us, and I pray for peace, because, guys, this is heating up for the next move that's going to draw us into the next level. And this thing's ready to pop off at a much bigger level. The contagion from this. See, it's similar to the events of 2020, right? The contagion from that. We're about to see the contagion of the World War III. Our good friend Patrick Riley, CEO of Reaper Financial, this gentleman right here has been tapped in on it, and he actually was, he actually did serve some time. So we appreciate Patrick for his service. He says, I've now had more than a dozen independent HUMINT sources, which I don't even know what that is, some sort of military sources, I'm assuming, tell me that Friday, 11/3 will be the day that Arab nations launch a combined attack on Israel. It would not be the first time an Israel thwarted the last attempt in the Six-Day War, but I can't help but notice that Israel and the United States no longer have the same outsized technological advantages that they did in 1967. I predict this weekend we will see something akin to the Tet Offensive, which I believe was from Vietnam, right? If the Arab nations or Hezbollah come in weak, they know what awaits them after having seen Israel's brutality in Gaza. Iran also has to know that the U.S. will strike Iran's navy as a response and to protect oil exports. If Iran doesn't launch a preemptive attack on U.S. positions, they are simply waiting around to be destroyed. And that's what we covered last update, right? Was the potential for that Strait of Hormuz to get shut down. And you have about 1/4, about 25 to 30% of the world's oil supply moving through that Strait of Hormuz. Every single day, we have millions of barrels rolling through that Strait of Hormuz, which all it takes is a little bit of this action and we get it shut down. Now, this is important what Patrick finishes off the statement with. Whether anyone likes it or not, it seems World War III is here and it is happening. To all of those that are not going to make it, may God rest your soul. To those who remain, do better next time. This didn't need to happen. It wasn't the weapons, religion, or nations that doomed us. It was the corruption of our political class. Integrity of character is the only thing that can prevent this from happening again. Do not give weak or stupid people power. Amen. God bless it. Are you kidding me? To think that it's the political class, the elites that have an agenda, that are battling over resources, commodities, and business deals valued at more than the billions. This is trillions of dollars on the line. And that's all they care about. And it's so unfortunate to see the division, to see the war at a time when humanity's on the brink of a fourth industrial revolution that takes us into a whole new reality of peace and prosperity, or at least it should be. What the agenda that they're rolling out, though, is tyranny and complete control, with a divide of the masses from the haves and the have-nots, a two-tier society, an elite 1%, and a poor, destruction of the middle class, strip the wealth out of the middle class, and you are basically left with the agenda that they have for us from 2030 and beyond. And they want to roll us into another war as we come at the point of the greatest monetary shift in the past 50 plus years. This will be one of the greatest transfers of wealth in world history, in my opinion. I think it could be the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. But nonetheless, my mentor, Dan Pena, he says, this is going to be the greatest transfer of wealth since World War II. I add on to that, I see the greatest in world history, but the part that we got to consider is the World War II part. We're on the brink of them tearing it down, building it back up. They've already been building a lot of it behind the scenes. And we are going to move over to it over the next decade. It's not something that happens overnight, but relatively speaking, it's something that when, this is a moment in time that gets taught about for the next decades to come. For the next 50 to 100 years, they'll be looking at this moment in time as humanity shifts and we move from industrial to digital. Many get left behind, and not everybody gets to be on the right side of this transfer of wealth. Now, in your country, you might be fighting to save it, as we are here back home in America. Most of the time I focus on the U.S. situation, but I understand that there's some countries that are experiencing some good times that are, or on the other end, experiencing some trouble, some chaos. For me, with the United States perspective, I see us still fat and happy. I see us not waking up to the fact of what's actually already here, which is a financial recession and an economic depression that we haven't seen for a very long time. And this time it is different. It is a whole lot worse than what we experienced in the great financial crisis. It's not just a real estate bubble. It is the everything bubble. Now, one of the main points that we've been talking about is this commodity war. Gold imports from Russia to Hong Kong surged by 750% from January to September of 2023 compared to the same period the previous year. There is a global gold reshuffling right now. It is very clear. Gold is playing a central role in the financial strategy of China and Russia, and you got to include even more than that. See, China and Russia are going bold, and that's because they have big militaries backing them. The larger your military that you have, the larger alliance that you have, the more bold that you get. And that's why the BRICS alliance is so powerful. It's because it's the BRICS plus a bunch of other countries that haven't formally decided to join BRICS, but they're aligning themselves militarily with the currencies and with the trade settlement deals outside the US dollars. This is very clear. It's not just China and Russia, and it's not just gold either. And as we are seeing, and as I showed you guys, I've been stacking my precious metals ever since I really realized, what the precious metals play was just a couple years ago. I'd been, I knew of gold for the, well over a decade, basically, since I started researching all the markets and the great conspiracy theory that we decode on a daily basis. I started to understand, what the heck is this Federal Reserve that's not federal? There are no reserves, and they got complete control over us. And we didn't vote them into power. And they funded every single war. That's another convenient part of having a private central bank, right? Is you can fund whatever operations you want, and we can send our guns for hire wherever we want. And if we don't have the military troops to do it, we now are seeing the use of private military contractors as well. And this is what I've been warning about back home, is the agents being activated. Right now, we see a flight to safety. This is why we're up 750% on the imports from Russia to Hong Kong. Hong Kong's eating it up. They're getting it as fast as they can. And Russia's been producing. They're producing as much as possible. And they're lying about how much they're producing as well, too. That's another part of the equation, is we're not even getting good data on how much is being produced, how much they're actually putting away. And we see that China has just been stacking their vaults full. When we bring it back to the broader financial markets back home, Charles Schwab is laying off 2,154 people out of 35,900 staff. This is why I've been hammering on the 401k retirement accounts, is because I want to save them. I want to save people that are getting wiped out, that have been going to Charles Schwab, that have been going to a financial advisor, that have been going to a Wall Street shill to get financial advice, versus going to someone who just puts it out on the line every single day on a daily basis. I have nothing to sell you. I have my affiliates if you want to use them, but on a daily basis, I just show you how I see it, how we're moving, and how we're making money. While all of this has been collapsing and falling, our crypto investments are up, our precious metals investments are up, and our businesses are thriving. While Charles Schwab is laying off, almost 10% of their staff. You want to continue on further? Let's go. WeWork has officially filed for bankruptcy from a $47 billion private market valuation, which may God have mercy on whoever was buying equity in WeWork at a $47 billion private market valuation. See, guys, this is what I've been talking about. We got to understand the equities, especially if we're looking at companies like Ripple and others. This is the XRP community, the broader crypto community, starting to look at equities. For those of you that already have 401ks, retirement accounts, or stock portfolios, we need to understand the equities market, because this is absurd what these valuations have been at. $47 billion private market valuation brought back down to reality with a $9 billion IPO via a SPAC, which is a special purpose acquisition company, in 2021, and now trading at $1.32 a share in after hours, marking a jaw-dropping 99% drop from its IPO price. So while everyone wants to make fun of the crypto bros, us crypto bros, getting wrecked, that's WeWork down 99%. This is the absurdity in the overvaluations of the equity deals that we've been talking about, which is why I am doing the most strict due diligence when it comes to all of these deals that I'm looking at. When I've looked over Ripple, I've looked over Uphold, I'm going to be looking over a whole lot more of equity deals. And this is, companies that are in crypto and fintech, all the way to other companies like WeWork, right? These companies and these programs that were working out well, really were thriving, right? During one, at a time here, we're really thriving. They were commanding a $47 billion private market valuation. The company Ripple has only acquired, a $10 billion valuation, and Ripple bought back their own stock at a $15 billion valuation. They were willing to pay a 50% premium, which, what does that tell you? When Ripple is willing to pay a 50% premium for their own stock to buy back, what does that tell you? Meanwhile, WeWork is $47 billion? That's crazy. And sure enough, the market is doing what it does, and it's bringing it back down to reality. And they've had to adjust, and they've gotten absolutely killed. The co-working space drama continues to unfold, reminding us that even unicorns can stumble in the real world of business. And this is why I want us to be prepared for all of our positions, including if you have Ripple equity or if you have XRP2, right? A lot of us have both or some of each. I want you guys to have exit strategies, reallocation programs for every single position that you have, whether it's stocks, whether it's cryptocurrency, precious metals, whether it's your business. Do you have a 5-year exit strategy, 10-year exit strategy? Pass it on down to the children strategy. What's the plan? What's the program? So that we know what we're building towards, and so that we know when we hit those goals, we hit the exits, because you're seeing right now the overvaluation. Everybody was drunk. See, I've only taken a couple sips of my adult beverage, but everybody else in this market was sauced, gone, What are you talking about? And we're getting brought back down to reality. And this is the equities correction that I've been warning about. So I'm remaining patient as I have my capital on the sidelines to move into private equity deals. We're going to be looking at a bunch of private equity deals along with real estate over the next couple years as we amass tremendous size portfolios in equity and real estate both. Now, we're going to give one to the SEC before we talk about them getting shamed. As I put in the title here, we have crypto pumping. That's great. But we also get to see the SEC being shamed. But they get a chalk one up for the good guys, for good guy Gary Gensler, right? U.S. government arrests SafeMoon founders John Caroni, Kyle Nagy, and Thomas Smith, and the charges are for fraud. So unlike Brad and Chris, who were, charged with aiding and abetting and no fraud charges, right? We are seeing that these guys were charged with fraud and they were scooped right on up and arrested right away. The SafeMoon founders getting absolutely wrecked, getting brought back in, and Gary Gensler and the good guys, they get a cheer, they get a clap. I'm sure that they're going to serve up some big fat juicy fine. They're going to, seize the assets of these founders. They probably got a couple little whips. They got a little house. They rented a couple models and had a couple bottles, and now they're going to be put behind bars where they belong for their fraud. And this is the rest of the cryptocurrency space. We've seen so much that, that had to be cleaned up. This is what we love to see. Wow, the SEC's finally doing their job. Did they protect investors? Absolutely not. They let these things blow up. They track and monitor the whole thing. That's nothing. That's the easy part of the job, is tracking and monitoring the whole thing, right? In the internet age where we're throwing everything online, everything's tracked and monitored by their buddies at the NSA and beyond, right? So that's not even the hard part. The best part is letting it blow up, and that's why they do it, is they let it blow up. They let the Ponzi schemes get as big as possible, so then they can come in and kill and collect the most amount of money. This is why they collect billions of dollars every year. And they expect us, good guy Gary Gensler, to come in here and clap that he's taking care of business after the damages are already done. But we got to chalk one up for the good guys. SEC officially charging the founders of SafeMoon with fraud and arresting them, and we love to see it. In the cryptocurrency space, let's clean it up. Now, this is the SEC getting shamed that I was talking about. So just yesterday, the Securities and Exchange Commission, applicability of the Congressional Review Act to Staff Accounting Bulletin number 121. This was a bulletin just released by the U.S. This is the U.S. Government Accountability Office, which just found that, of course, the SEC was not following the law, while Mr. Gary Gensler, and this is Stuart Alderoty, Chief Legal Officer at Ripple, while Mr. Gensler is making bad Halloween jokes on X, which, yes, yesterday he did make a terrible Halloween joke. And actually, I need to talk about that for a sec. I'll talk about that after this. He makes a Halloween joke on X. His agency is being shamed for ignoring the law that requires agency rules to be reviewed by Congress. Seems the SEC has become the lawless Wild West Gensler loves to talk about so much. And I love Stuart Alderoty. Every time he comes on, he just smacks down Gary Gensler, doesn't he? Now, Gary Gensler did put out a stupid tweet yesterday, and I'm going to pull it up really quick. This is ridiculous. We got to take a sip of our adult beverage before we decode this Gary Gensler tweet. Terrible, terrible joke. But I don't think it was a joke. I think he was sending a code. Gary Gensler tweeted out this: if Satoshi Nakamoto went as Satoshi Nakamoto for Halloween, would we be able to tell? Happy 15th anniversary to Satoshi's famous white paper that started crypto. Any crypto companies that are tricking investors should start treating them to compliance with the securities law. And you know how good Gary felt about dropping this tweet yesterday, knowing that they were about to go cuff and lock up the SafeMoon founders and that they were about to get to go cheer that. You know he was loving that. The other part of the message that I believe that he's sending is that they know who created Bitcoin. They absolutely know who created Bitcoin. They know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Talking about Satoshi Nakamoto being dressed as Satoshi Nakamoto, would we know who he was? Would we be able to tell? Ha ha ha, what a funny joke, Gary. No, he's mocking us. They're mocking us. They live by this. Put it in front of the peasants. Put it in front of the uninitiated, right? The uninitiated, the ones who don't understand the deals that we're doing behind closed doors. You put it in front of them as part of the ritual. Why do you think my mentor Dan Pena said if we knew who created Bitcoin, it would drop to zero instantly? Happy 15th anniversary to Satoshi, sure, and any crypto companies that are tricking investors should start treating them to compliance with the securities laws. And this, I think, just marks the fact that Gary Gensler is going to be coming after everyone. He's going to continue this, even though they have been caught with basically not going to Congress to get approval for the laws and the rulemaking that they're trying to put through. And remember, that's the thing, is they don't pass laws. All they're doing is rulemaking. Now, what we have here is Patrick McHenry and Senator Loomis releasing a statement following the Government Accountability Office determination on the SEC Staff Accounting Bulletin 121. They say, the Government Accountability Office confirmed what many suspected. SAB 121 is subject to congressional review. This rule would impose massive new requirements on financial institutions and other firms to place digital assets on their balance sheets as a liability with a corresponding asset. Ultimately, this would deter institutions and firms from offering custodial services, denying Americans access to safe and secure custody of their assets. SAB 121 was drafted with zero input from prudential regulators and the public, and now Congress must step in to block this harmful rule, from Chairman Patrick McHenry. And just like Digital Perspective, Brad Kimes tweeted out here, when subpoena? Why have we not issued the subpoena yet? We are shaming the SEC publicly. I mean, they're getting called out. They're getting called capricious in a U.S. court of law, right? They're getting called without faithful allegiance to the law in the Ripple case, and they're losing lawsuits. And they still haven't provided a spot ETF. We are just watching the SEC get exposed on a daily basis. They should be ashamed of themselves in the way that they've been running that agency, along with the broader bureaucracy beast that has come in with red tape to choke off American industry and capitalists that are trying to build out real value. That is what we're up against, our own government hindering our ability to save humanity from an inefficient financial system, a financial system that keeps us poor. Financial assets and opportunities that are shilled to us after all the insiders have already gotten in, i.e. the 401k retirement accounts that are shilled to you through the Wall Street financial advisor shills. That's all this is, to keep us poor. Now, when we look at the real opportunities, it can't be more clear. It can't be more obvious what Ripple is doing with XRP. The tests have been done. The real projects are already underway. And we're starting to see price action that is the start of something that will shock the rest of the cryptocurrency space, to simply put it. This is what we're talking about. I'm not just saying this. I'm not just throwing that out there. Right here, you have Standard Chartered Bank of Singapore, Mr. Gautam Jain. You won't wait for 5 minutes for a web page to load. Why would you wait for 3 days for payments to process? We tried 2 use cases with Ripple. Let's listen in here on what he has to say. This is real partnerships between Standard Chartered Bank, and folks want to say that Ripple is pivoting away from banks, right? Yeah, okay. Standard Chartered Bank of Singapore doing 2 use cases with Ripple. Let's listen in.
We live in a days of instant gratification. You won't wait 5 seconds for a web page to load. Why would you wait 3 days for a payment to settle? So let's go real time. The world is moving real time, so should payments and other forms of settlements. Well, we have had two use cases with Ripple. The first one was on trade finance, where we tried to solve the problem of duplicate invoice financing under the codename TradeSafe.
Hold up. Haven't we talked about the trade finance space being a $19 trillion market with XDC? A $19 trillion market. And you guys know what turns me on. Not only my beautiful wifey, but solving $1 trillion problems. And that's what we're doing right here. You gotta love it. Let's let him finish.
In which we collaborated with DBS and IDA, the Singapore sovereign. The second use case is on cross-border payments. So we want to make cross-border payments real-time, instantaneous, with full transparency. So these are the two use cases we are working on.
And cross-border payments just happens to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry as well. On a yearly basis, hundreds of trillions. And then, I mean, just look at Swift too. They're doing 1.2 quadrillion per year. So if trillions don't get you excited, maybe quadrillions will. And what happens when you get tapped in with Ripple? And wait, hold up. Are they using XRP? Where's XRP at? When you get tapped in with Ripple and you start to use XRP, just like Palau did with their stablecoin, a US dollar backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger called the Palau stablecoin, was trialed, ran through the first couple phases. We're going to see additional testing. But this is a real government that is looking at launching their stablecoin on the public mainnet XRPL. What happens when you work with Ripple? Well, we just saw from Standard Chartered Bank, right, the two use cases and success that they've had. But then we see here from our good friend Jay Hunter Anson, who we did have on the show. If you missed that interview, just go to the interview playlist on my YouTube channel and you can listen to that one. He is from the Ministry of Finance at Palau, works for their government. And he reports that Palau is the third fastest growing economy in the world. This is what happens when you start working with Ripple and start using XRP. Palau is the third fastest growing economy in the world. Looking forward to presenting our stablecoin pilot report and plans for the next phase. Now, let me give some respect to Jay, their Ministry of Finance and their president on what they're working on over there. They're leaning into much more than just XRP and Ripple, but they did lean in heavy, launching their stablecoin on the XRPL public mainnet. That's what I'm talking about. And leaning into this. See, they're the third fastest growing economy in the world. What happens when all these other banks and institutions start using XRP? Their businesses are growing. They're acquiring other companies. And you think I'm just saying that? No. Check this out. Anders, Ripple ODL partner MFS Africa decides to change name to On Afric after having significant growth. On Afric have posted some impressive numbers recently. 500 million connected mobile wallets, 40 African countries, 300,000 enterprise and merchant customers, etc. This is why when the BRICS summit was taking place and everybody came after me, right? Because I said that BRICS was already using XRP. And everybody came after me. Everybody wanted to fact check me. But then I pulled it. Document after document. We already had 5 BRICS nations that were already live with on-demand liquidity settling with XRP. And then you also had this partnership with MFS Africa, which spans 40 African countries. It's essentially the whole continent of Africa can now tap in with MFS Africa Ripple ODL partner. Not just RippleNet partner, and now Ripple's branded from RippleNet and Ripple ODL to now they've just merged it to Ripple Payments. Good marketing move. But this is a company, MFS Africa, now going to be named On Afric, that has had significant growth. They're live with ODL in 40 plus countries, and they've tapped in ODL to some of their other corridors in the Middle East too. Right, and this is North Africa. This is the Middle East, North Africa region, MENA, along with APAC. That's the Asia Pacific region. Ripple's on-demand liquidity partners. They're acquiring competition, just like Ripple is. Right, Ripple acquired Medico. Ripple making moves. You see all of their partners making moves. You see Palau, the government that's leaning into this technology, leaning into basically making their economy digital, is now the third fastest growing economy in the world. This is the Ripple advantage and the XRP strategic weapon to go with it. That's what this is. It's not just Ripple. That's half of the story, because Ripple's holding hands. Ripple's showing them how to do it. Ripple's helping them build out the stablecoin on the XRPL. Ripple's helping them tap into, 40 plus payout markets for ODL, 70 plus payout markets for fiat payments, right? This is the Ripple payment network that is growing. And we just got the Q3 market report for Ripple. In a separate video, I'm going to be going over the Q3 market report, but it shows the growth continuing. Bear market recession is not stopping the growth for Ripple XRP. And their industry-leading transparency is what we're getting from them in their market reports. I want to give a huge shout out because I didn't miss this. I caught you, Matt. We have Matt 59754 with a 10 spot. Kentucky Bourbon Fund. God bless. Bless others. 10 spot. Appreciate you, Matt. Much love, brother. Mustafa 5 spot. It won't look good when all those treasury bonds come back to America. Every other country wants to strengthen their own currency. That's why they have to sell off our bonds. You know, you're absolutely right, Mustafa. Thank you for the support, but you're absolutely spot on. Our community is so smart here. You guys get it. These currencies are being devalued and they're getting destroyed and they're being forced to sell off their US bonds. Now, who the heck is going to buy all of these bonds that these foreign countries are selling? And then the Treasury wants to issue another $1.5 billion worth of debt. That's going to be the deficit in what they want to issue over the next 2 quarters as well. Who's going to be the buyers? Yeah, I saw Marie asked if that had been confirmed about the Marine Ball. I can't confirm that. I just saw that reported on Twitter here tonight. Yeah, Ben, I appreciate the comment. Guys, thank you so much. Doug, appreciate you, brother. Dex, good to see you. I see Dex. I see Brenda, a couple of the moderators in here. Huge shout out to the moderators working the chat tonight. How are you guys doing tonight? Blockchain Brain says this. I have spent thousands of hours reading and viewing content in this space. Zach is the best commentator because he covers everything from geopolitics and macroeconomics to technical analysis. Thank you. No, I thank you, Blockchain Brain. That's why we do what we do here. And that's why I'm already an hour in, right? And we haven't even got to our Q&A session. I did make it through here. If you guys have any questions, comments, drop them on down below and I'd love to answer them, right? Because that's what I'm looking at. We went through this. Fed pauses. The rest of the broader markets are in trouble. Panic, right? We get a little bit of a stock rally because the market is calling the Fed's bluff. The market is calling the Fed pivot and predicting that Fed pivot is already here and that they're going to start cutting rates here sooner. What I've been talking about is, yes, that's true. And what I'm waiting for is kind of a black swan event to give the Fed the excuse to actually cut rates. Right? Because right now, they're not winning the fight against inflation. So if they want to cut rates, they can't say that they've won the fight against inflation. That's why we're cutting rates. They can't do that. We need to have World War III events. We need to have false flags. We need to have something crazy, just like we did in March of 2020. Right? That's the type of event that I see coming here over the next 6 months to a year. And after we get through that moment, we really clean up the space. We start to get regulations. We see a transition from money flowing out of equities, money flowing out of equities in the traditional markets and bonds, and we see that flowing into digital assets. This is why I'm so excited for this bull run. This bull run in and of itself will be life-changing for folks that don't want to wait till 2030. I don't think that you're going to have to wait till 2030 for something to happen significant with price. We're right here at that moment. We are right here. Over the next 2 years, we're going to see something incredible happen with the price. Now, does that mean that we're going straight up from here and that we're not going to have a pullback? We will have a pullback. I think that that's coming in here soon. If I'm wrong and we go up and up forever, then God bless it. My bags are packed. I'm ready to go on the rocket ship to the other side with you. But I'm remaining level-headed. We understand on the macro picture why this is so tight out here. The Fed has raised rates at the fastest pace in history. And this is why they don't know what to do right now. That's why they've paused once again. Right? If you're confident in your move, you're raising rates. And if you need to be more strong, then you raise them by 0.5%, right? I think they did a couple 0.5% raises, right? Now they've effectively brought the Fed funds rate up to about 5.5%. 5 to 5.5%. And then what you're seeing is that the interest rates on your mortgages have gone all the way up to 8%. Now that the Fed has paused, we could actually see a dip in the mortgage rates. We could see a potential dip here in the mortgage rates. As I showed you guys, the 10-year treasury was back down here to start off the month. So you take a look at this chart. The 10-year treasury is what determines your 30-year mortgage rate. We're back down to 4.7 here to start off the month. So this thing is back down. Okay. So that's where we could actually see the mortgage rates cool off right now at about 8%. But the Fed's backed into a corner. That's where we're at. The Fed is between a rock and a hard place. Let me answer some of your guys' questions. Love the content, Zach, but who the hell says adult beverage? I don't like to say things on live chat. I try to, use code words. So it's just a code word, adult beverage. We got a few code words. Much love and appreciation from the family to yours. The land down under. Australia showing up. Shell, I appreciate you. Shell, much love. The land down under. Now we're starting to move, guys. This is actually a pump. Now I see the halving setting the stage, and the next halving being the one we've never seen, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the thing is this begins sometime between now and summer. That's where I'm at. Between now and next summer, we begin the next bull run. Now, last time around, we had March 2020 simulation events, which killed us and brought us back down to 3,800 after we'd gone up and rallied to 13,800. We did a 340% bull trap rally in the middle of the bear market 2019 before we got March 2020 killed, sacrificed, simulation event, call it whatever you want. Was it real? Was it fake? Should you do this? Should you do that? Do a little dance, make a little love, survive the apocalypse. Good luck, God bless. That's the storm that we get to ride through. And I think that we get to do it again. And I try to laugh and have some fun here with it, but it ain't a laughing matter. It really isn't. Man, God, please save us and bring us peace, because what the hell are we doing? We're launching the next phase of World War III right now. Look at that. Look at that. We got the Aussies showing up again. The Aussies showing up big time. I am going to have to show up in Australia. I mean, shoot, you guys are making it rain over here. You guys are throwing much love and support from Australia. Warwick, I appreciate you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. Big 100 spot of the Aussie bucks. Hey, Zach, your thoughts on private equity investments in Uphold at $3.80 per share, up 30% this week with the Ripple news. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was wanting to buy some Uphold and I was kicking myself. I've been wanting to do a lot more equity deals. I'm just late to the game. I'll be honest with you guys, right, with my personal situation. The housing market's jacked up. For a little millennial guy who's trying to buy his first home, it's a hell of a deal. You need a lot of money down. You're going to buy a piece of crap and overpay for it. And the white picket fence is, you better have a strong adult beverage if you're trying to enjoy the white picket fence American dream, because it ain't what Grandpappy told us it once was. And I say all that to say, that's why I haven't allocated any money to the private equity yet. I've been doing due diligence on Ripple, Uphold, and many other companies already, and we got a lot more on the way. And I can't give you financial advice. I'm not here to be a financial advisor, but Warwick, I appreciate the support and I appreciate the question, because Uphold is one of those companies that I do want a piece at. It's one of those companies that even at a 30% rally this week, it's like, just give me some of that. You know what I'm saying? Give me some of that, because Uphold's the real deal. Now, I find myself in a unique position as a content creator, because I get information, and I got to be careful with what I say. I get information and I have to be very careful with what I do, right? Because I have a public platform. So when I move into private equities, it's a very different deal. We got to be very strict with it. It's very tight. And typically I only talk about that with my private group, but I'm looking at private equity deals like Ripple, like Uphold. A lot of this has been hyped. A lot of this has been hyped in our community, but I still see growth potential, because the masses don't have a clue. The masses barely even know what Bitcoin is, let alone knowing what XRP is, let alone knowing what Ripple is, let alone knowing what an Uphold is. They have no idea. But Uphold's the real deal. See, when I spoke to Simon McLaughlin in August, he confirmed that they're listing equities on the platform already because they already bought a broker-dealer. So this is a platform that'll allow you to buy equities, get exposure to different currencies, get exposure to precious metals, get exposure to crypto, anything to anything. You want to use their Uphold vault to basically custody the cryptocurrency yourself too. They're going to allow you to do that too. So you get to partake in the custody. You get liquidity for anything to anything, from equities to currencies to precious metals to cryptocurrencies. Everything you need, you're going to have it Uphold. And oh, by the way, they're already sourcing liquidity from 30 plus exchanges so that you don't have to rely on one exchange that goes bust, that breaks. And this is why when Luna, you guys remember the Luna crash last year in May? Every single exchange was shut down for Luna. Uphold was one of the few that still was providing liquidity. I remember Simon McLaughlin, the CEO of Uphold, telling me that when I interviewed him. The reason why they were able to do so is because they were sourcing from so many different sources. They're not, they're not making up their own liquidity just within their exchange. They're a prime broker is what the proper term is. They're a prime broker, the type that, you call up, or in this case on Uphold, you place the order and they're going to go source you from 30 plus exchanges. They're going to go source you from dozens upon dozens of sources of liquidity. That's a game changer. What did I just show this episode? Charles Schwab is laying off 10% of their staff. Why? Because everybody's going to be using a Robinhood. Everybody's going to be using an Uphold. That's where this goes. And so what I want us to be careful of is getting married to some of these positions, because I showed you what WeWork did. WeWork is down 99% after a 40-something billion dollar private valuation, and then they went public at a much less valuation. So let me explain what takes place, guys. There's insiders, there's the founders of the company, there's insiders, right? And then it goes public in the SPAC. Usually what's happening is these private equity groups are already public, and then they go in and they buy up these companies and they basically, make the company public, right? Through a SPAC, and they do the IPO. So you have the founders, you have the insiders, then you have the early, another layer of private equity essentially that takes the company public. And then on the day that it goes public, it's going to trade at an all-time high like Coinbase does. Record-breaking IPO, all-time high. What was like Coinbase was at like $400 a share. Now it's down to like 40. Right? It's down another 90 something percent too. And so I don't want us to be caught holding that bag on Ripple, on Uphold, on any of these private equity deals. So that's where I say I'm all about it. I'd love to get some. Right? I'm a big fan, but I don't want us to be married to these bags and not know when we should be taking profit. On some of these positions, the insiders that are making bags and finding some liquidity, they're doing that even before the company goes public. That's how Link2 is getting shares. That's how others are getting shares of the company, is you have people that are like the inner circle of insiders, founders, the initial early employees that are sitting on millions and millions of shares, and they want to find exit liquidity, right? There's all these new platforms that are allowing them to find that exit liquidity, and then that's how we're coming up on these shares. Now, for me, there's a lot of opportunity right now, because these are breaking the existing models. This is not just hype. This is really, really growing at a massive scale for companies like Uphold and Ripple. And then there's other, equity deals that we're looking at right now as well. Shellfish, I appreciate that 30 spot super chat. Aussie Bucks, much love. Much love to the Aussies in the chat. We can't get IPO with link to only US residents. Anyone have other suggestions from outside USA? I am in your Discord group. Shellfish, that's a great question. Let's talk about that in the Discord. Send me a Discord message and we'll talk about that, because right now I'm telling you guys, this is getting democratized right now through platforms like Link2. This is very exciting. Very exciting stuff. So shoot me a message on Discord group, Shellfish. I appreciate that. Shellfish, reach out to me on Discord group, and right now, this is the deal. We have to be careful right now, because this thing's going to move very quickly. Right, you're going to have a lockup period upon these companies announcing that they're going public, and then when they go public, watch out, because what follows hype and speculation in a run up is a massive correction, and we keep on seeing that across the board, across every sector. The market is so excited for new IPOs and new opportunities, and there's been so much money flowing around. That's why Nvidia is trading at 90 times price to earnings. You know, that's why these other companies are trading at 60, 50 times price to earnings. That's not normal. It's just so much dang money floating around that people are just, you know, they're throwing money at whatever they can find. Right. So this is why I say for every position, we need to have our exit strategy in place. I'm going to be putting out a separate video, though, on Ripple IPO versus XRP. So stay tuned for that. It's actually one of the next videos on my list is Ripple IPO versus XRP. So stay tuned for that one. Johnny Laker, I see you, my good friend. 10 spot. Zach, do you still see a crash coming before bull run or after? Before? Soon. I do believe it's coming soon. Yeah, Johnny, that's a good question. I do believe that it's coming soon. Well, let's be clear. We've already done a tremendous bear market for cryptocurrency. It's not that I need to see Bitcoin go set a new low. It's that I think that we still have a lot of cleaning up to do in the crypto space, and this is what takes us down. Along with the broader markets taking us down. But what we are seeing right now is a tremendous demand for alternatives away from the US dollar. So never underestimate how wrong you can be. And I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. And I thought that we already were going to correct by now. I didn't realize that Bitcoin was going to do a rally to 35,000 over the last 2 weeks. When it started the bull trap rally, it went up to 30,000 2 weeks ago off of the fake news that the spot ETF got approved. I was calling the bull trap rally at 30K. And I said, this doesn't make me feel comfy. This doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Doesn't make me feel good. We're getting set up. Now, sure enough, they weren't done. Up to 35,000 here at the time of this recording. They weren't done. And this is what they do in crypto. But with that being said, we have multiple black swan events on the table. You take your pick. You roll the dice. Pick something out. Pick one out of the hat on what the black swan event's going to be. We see the World War III events picking up, as we covered here briefly in today's episode. It's here. It's picking up, and we're expecting the next ramp up to really come in over the next week potentially. Even over this weekend. We have to watch this weekend closely. Right now, Iran and other countries are being brought into this fight. And so the contagion of this war is spreading quickly, similar to events of 2020. They are failing to contain the crisis. That's where we're at. Shoot, I might have to get another adult beverage. What do you guys say? We've already been live for an hour and 15 minutes. Should we keep on rolling, or what do you guys say? Yeah, Binance has been playing games too, Johnny. Good point. Binance has been playing games. Binance started this rally in January with Binance USD getting printed at Paxos Treasury. People forget that. People want bull run blinders get put on. That's what this is. Everybody puts on bull run blinders. We only look. Chart go up. Green candle. And what did I show you guys today? The monthly chart. The reason why I showed you guys the monthly chart is to zoom out. Take a deep breath. And that's why I felt comfortable putting pump in the title. I didn't put pump in the title because we're up, 4% today. That's not a pump. I put pump in the title because we're up 130% this year. Since the beginning of this year, we're up about 130%. Or since basically the November lows of 15,500. So basically, year to date, essentially to the date, or to the day, I should say, we're up 130%. That's a pump. No matter what market, no matter what asset class you're talking about, that's a bull run pump. But Bitcoin does this. Crypto does this. This is nothing new. This is the most manipulated asset class in the world. Laura, I appreciate you. Cheers to another one. Love what you do. Laura, I appreciate you. That's big love right there. Laura, appreciate you too. Got to find me the Modelo. And the show goes on. What do you guys say? Should we pour up another one? I'll have to go run and grab another one real quick. See, I'm just happy that I can officially say I got some gold. I got some silver. We've been stacking. We've been preparing. We've been praying. And hey, if they want to send it, they can send it. Like I said, I'll ride on the rocket ship. Okay. I'm just worried that this rocket ship might be going down. I brought my parachute with. I'll go ride the rocket ship, but I'm bringing my parachute. Bless the XRP army. Love it. If there is a bull run, will the replacement be... if there is a bull run, will the retracement be gentle or painful? Well, we saw a very painful one last bear market, and I think that we could see one that could be very painful again. I mean, folks are already getting worn out, right? That's why it's like, I hate to be that guy. I know everybody wants to get excited because everybody's so frustrated, tired, and beat down by this bear market already. We are all hoping and praying and doing our rituals every single night that we've entered the next bull run. And we're trying to still find the next date in the XRP community. We're desperately hanging on here. But yeah, it's for me. Yeah, I think that we need to remain patient right now. I hate to be that guy. Because I know we've all been so worn out here. I'll just say this is nice to listen to Zach in the mornings when I'm unable to catch a live stream and the video is about 2 hours. Doug, I know that's what's so funny is I get so much divided feedback. I get folks that are just pissed that I would do a 2-hour show. They just leave the crappiest comment because I made a 2-hour show. And then I get a bunch of comments too that just say how much they love the 2-hour shows. Personally, I find that I find a shortage of quality content on YouTube. I've already started to ramp up. We did a lot of content last month, and we're going to be doing a lot more through the fall and winter here. I find a shortage of quality content. Like I have a few regulars that I listen to outside of crypto. I don't listen to any other crypto bros, period. I don't listen to any others. But I do listen to real estate. I do listen to Jim Rickards. I do listen to Peter Schiff, other economists, other real estate guys. That's what I listen to. And my mentor, Dan Pena, of course. But other than that, I don't listen to other crypto folks, but I find a shortage of content. I don't know about you guys. So I try to put out as much as possible for you guys, from the 2 hours to the shorts. We got a lot coming your guys' way, though. You can be assured of that. Hey, been listening to you for a long time. For the first time tonight for the last hour. You have a great perspective and I appreciate your time. That being said, I just cracked another one and have a left-handed cigar. Mike McCarthy, that is a vibe. I'm not a cigar guy. I've actually never smoked a cigar in my life. True story. But yeah, I I appreciate it. I love the smell of them. I love the smell of a cigar. I've never smoked one though, ever. Yeah. I know it's a classy thing to do though, the cigar. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. I have a heart problem, so I don't do the cigars. No cigars for me. XR Peaky, 5 spot. How dare you share quality perspectives and hang out with us for 2 hours? Go fill your cup. Doug says, love the content. Holding on like a tick on a dog. Zach, thanks. Zach and many other influencers like Coach JV, Bull, DAI, Mickle, Extra VOD, etc. It's you guys who put people like me in the game. I love all those guys. I love all those guys. See, there's a few real ones out there. There are a few real ones. Okay. I love you guys. Okay. I guess I'll go refill and we'll go hang out for a little bit longer. What do you say? I'm going to need you guys to smash that thumbs up for me though, please. And if you can, let's share it out far and wide. Much love. I'll be right back. You guys can watch the chart here while you guys wait for me. Give me just about 17 seconds. Shouldn't take me long. Let me zoom in on the chart for you though. We don't need to be watching the 1 month chart. All right. There you go. Appreciate you guys. I'll be right back. Thank you. All right. All right. Now, I did get myself a little glass of H2O, by the way, too. Okay. Let's do some more Q&A. What are you guys working with? I appreciate you guys so much. Yep. So Dex asks, is everyone preparing for what is coming? Food supplies, silver, XRP, water, emergency bug out supplies, freedom seeds, Dex. It's incredible. On every single level, we've been making those moves, haven't we? Right now, this is what I've been watching on this gold and silver. Back up to 2,000 here, and we double tap it here recently. Basically, right towards the end of this month here, we've hung out, tapped it twice. Back below 2,000, but remaining super strong. And as I was showing you guys on the macro monthly time frame, gold has topped off 3 times since 2020, essentially. And so gold is ready to make a historical move into price discovery. And I mean, you go look at the last time it really went into price discovery. Just go look back at during the 70s, after the Yom Kippur War 50 years ago. Sure enough, we celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, and a war breaks out with Israel and Gaza. And if you just go look at what happened during that decade, gold rallied 2,000%. So, I mean, you tell me where we go from here. I think that we break out from 2K and we do something pretty violent. I'm sure we'll find significant sell pressure, but the sky's the limit on that. Now, NVIDIA did break out here today. Big breakout for NVIDIA. Let's take a look at this one. I showed you guys 429 stocks back up today. This is your 4-hour chart, so we're zoomed in now. S&P back up today. Back up today for the Dow. So those rallied. And I think that the markets really just don't know what they're doing, right? They don't understand what the Fed's doing. The Fed doesn't know what it's doing. You got a bunch of money that's just been thrown around. We basically printed $5 trillion over the last few years. Everybody, had equity in their house. Everybody's 401ks went up. It was a really good time. And then he started raising rates at the fastest pace in history. And we had a recession last year. And then we've seen that we've had somewhat of a recovery. We reported 4.9% GDP growth last month. Now, that's, when you look at that, what does that tell us? It tells you that you have some growth. Where's the growth coming from? It's growth of people paying more for the same products and services, which is why the average person is getting squeezed out right now. The markets are not rational, but that's because there's so much money in the system. That's why these stocks has, only corrected to a level that they have. I believe that they should be corrected a lot more, right? These stocks should be down a lot more, and gold and, assets like XRP should be up a lot higher. There should be trillions of dollars parked in XRP right now. And I'm not just saying that. I know that we can solve that utility through moving, trillions of dollars on a daily basis. But also, we should probably see a little bit more allocation towards, assets that have a true fixed supply and are truly deflationary versus our US dollar and the US dollar derivatives, which we don't even know how big they are. We don't even know how many claims there are to US dollars, as it's not just issuing money at the bank. See, a lot of folks think of inflation as just money being printed from the Federal Reserve and then given to a bank and lent out to us. The real inflation happens from that dollar that's printed from the Fed and given to the bank. And then that bank turns around and issues 10 times or 100 times what the deposit is, right? But then you also have money printing in additional ways as well, too. With $5 trillion, nearly a third of the US dollars in circulation printed just within the last couple years, right? They found all these PPP loans. They found the student loans forgiveness that got shut down by the Supreme Court, but that's not stopping Biden. He's doing the loophole. They're not going to stop with the injection of liquidity, and then they're also trying to skirt and pay off some of these liabilities. Now, they do a cost of living adjustment every year, and the last year was one of the biggest cost of living adjustments, but it's nowhere near to keep up. And then when folks are seeing that their 401k in their retirement account didn't go up another, 6 to 10% last year, they're wondering what's going on. And then if they check in right now and you see on where your portfolio has been going this year too, it's been getting checked here again. And so Now's the time to reallocate towards reality. That's what needs to be done. We need to reallocate towards reality, which means pulling our money out of high-flying, overvalued companies like Nvidia and others, and moving to, the new assets, the new economy, the new currency, and the new companies that are going to really grow at a pace similar to these companies that we now see in those high-flying spots, the Magnificent Seven. What's stopping Ripple from being part of the Magnificent Seven? Serious question. I mean, can anybody answer that down below why Ripple couldn't be part of the Magnificent Seven, right? The S&P 500, and that's why these indexes are a joke to me too. It's just like the inflation data. When the results aren't in your favor, you just change the inputs. When the answer or the equation doesn't give you the results you want, you just change the inputs. That's what the CPI lie is, and that's what the S&P 500 is. When you don't like the companies that you got in there, you just change the companies you got in there. You change what the index fund is made up of. And they've done it throughout history. That's why there's so much data on the S&P 500. But when you are looking at the S&P 500, you have to understand that that's an index of companies that's been constantly evolving and changing, and companies come and go. And so the question that I have now today is, what's stopping Ripple from being part of the Magnificent Seven? Or, one of the top companies that gets added to the S&P and, becomes a household staple. I think it's going to become the darling of Wall Street. After they defeat the SEC, after they present legitimacy to the cryptocurrency space, crypto means business, their most recent slogan that they've been throwing around the last year, they become the darling of Wall Street. Now, what's interesting? When we talk about that Ripple private equity deal, let me check the comments real quick. Appreciate you guys so much. Who do you consult with about real estate, Zach? That's a great question. So I have a couple experts within my group, within our Discord group. We have seasoned real estate investors alongside me. And then I have professional brokers. I have agents. I have personal relationships with probably at least a dozen agents plus. I've lost track. We have relationships with many agents. But then I also have relationships with mortgage brokers, mortgage lenders, with property managers. And then I have relationships with seasoned real estate investors that are doing like big real estate deals, right? Significant. And so that's the power of our network, right? The old saying, your net worth is your network. Well, we've been expanding and growing, and that's the benefit of my community, is not just me. See, folks want to get access to me, and that is there. But what we've built is a community of like-minded individuals that are tapped in on all this stuff, including the stuff that we can't talk about on the public YouTubes because we don't want to get in trouble and be a bad boy, right? So we got to talk about that on the private Discord group. But then the other beautiful thing is that I can talk about real deals. To your point, who can you consult with? We've already done a couple real estate sessions with my good friend Johnny, who we've gotten close with over the last couple years. Johnny came into the Discord group, and he's one of the seasoned real estate investors in our group. And he's actually had a couple calls with us. We can always lean on him for stuff. And then we've got a few other members too with seasoned real estate experience. And then we also have many folks that just have investment portfolios in real estate too. Right now, I'm getting started with my real estate investment journey. Really looking forward to it because I think there's a tremendous opportunity in the real estate asset class. I'm very anxious because I've been studying real estate for a long time. I'm still not a property owner. And so I have big time FOMO. But the beautiful thing about my deal is that I don't actually FOMO in. I don't actually fall for the white picket fence American dream that's going to have me miserable, that's going to keep me, limited in my capabilities here. Right now, I find we're in a position where I want to have mobility. I want to have flexibility. I don't like being locked down. And then I live in a market too where it's more expensive by far to buy than it is to rent. And then my area, where we talk about strategic relocation, we talk about where we move over the next decade, right? I'm in no hurry to get out of Dodge, but I also realize what's happening on the ground in the inner cities of America, in the sanctuary states, as I call them. The sanctuary states are going to have a problem here. And it's because they've offered too many promises, i.e. liabilities for that state government, versus what they actually can pay back and versus what they actually can provide, i.e. deteriorating inner cities and infrastructure across this country. And the moral decay and the vibe just being taken out, because the bad part about the the cities getting rejuvenated, brought back to life, gentrified is what I meant to say. The cities are getting gentrified and all sorts of investment money is pouring in, but where is it going towards? It's going towards 15-minute cities. It's going towards coffin apartments. It's going towards, an experience that doesn't seem appealing to me, but for, I understand why the move to utility housing is going to be massive, and that's what I want to be a part of. When I think of real estate investing, I think of right now, what do the people need most? To be the best, investor in real estate, I need to provide the best utility. And right now, what is that? That's utility housing. It's not high-flying speculative markets. It's not cyclical real estate markets. It's good quality utility. It's affordable quality. See, there's affordable crap. There's all sorts of crap being built. There's expensive crap that's being built. There's a lot of crappy product that's being built. And there's a lot of crappy experience that's being built out, i.e. 15-minute cities. Now, to each their own. To each their own. Right now, I get it. A lot of people are going to be in the camp of own nothing, be happy. They won't own a house. They won't own a car. They won't own a purpose in life. They won't own anything besides maybe a little puppy, and that's going to be life. And that's fine if that's your deal. I don't hate on that at all. I get it. Like, that's totally cool. I believe that we need to be, making more babies, more just like Elon talks about, right? Not many people have been talking about that as of late, about how we've been having negative population growth. Our population is in decline. We need to be creating more. We need to be flourishing as a people with purpose and with soul. That's what I believe in. And if you can do that in the 15-minute coffin apartment, then God bless you, right? I mean, to each their own. I just like a little bit of fresh air. But anyways, what we're seeing right now is this move, this agenda where you're just going to be priced out of the assets. You're going to be forced. It's not going to be up to choice. See, everybody has a dream. Right? We all have a dream, but we're coming back to a new reality, or as their favorite term has been, a new normal. And that's where I want to save the folks who are fighting against that, because I'm right there with you, right? Family, business. How can we build generational wealth? How can we protect our wealth? Right here with you guys. Going to the grocery store. It's just ridiculous. Anything now. I just laugh because it's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. I talk about the stupid examples, right? It's just ridiculous. Having to pay. We went out to a park today, state park. You got to pay for the state park now. It's state land, which is supposed to be the people's land, but now you got to pay to play on the people's land, right? It's and that's just a simple example, but it's one of many where, it's ridiculous. Morning from Russia. I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody from Russia in the house. Are you really from Russia? We got love from across the planet, and we love to see it. And for me, this is something where worldwide, I have so much sympathy for those outside of our country. How we've abused our reserve currency status, how we have wreaked havoc and terror on the rest of the world. With our policies, with our foreign policy, with our military extravaganzas, everything that we've been doing is just a complete abuse of power, and it's been afforded to us by that reserve currency status, which is coming to an end, which I believe is good, right? Real Americans who understand real value have already started moving to additional currencies, assets, and those that provide real value, that then you're always going to have a place in society. The problem is we are in a point of mass inflation where we have to move our money to assets as fast as possible. And those who don't own assets are going to get priced out of assets, and assets is the path to wealth. Even if you make significant money, doesn't mean that you're going to be building wealth or have anything left to preserve, anything left to pass down. So you got to build it, you got to protect it, and then we want to pass it down, right? So that's the program that we've been trying to implement across all of these asset classes as we take a look at all these different investment opportunities. You're killing our dollar, aren't we? Aren't we? We absolutely are. That's been in Australia for decades. And see, that's the thing is I look around the world and I'm like, man, we got to remain thankful for what we got, but let's not sit back and be comfortable because the US is still relatively free. We still have somewhat of a rule of law. Our dollar still is the reserve currency status. A lot of the masses are just like, yay, happy slappy times, fat and happy, have a good time, stay plugged into the matrix and live a good life or whatever that existence is meant to be. Where this party's coming to an end and we lost $6 trillion worth of wealth last year, America didn't even realize it. Do you hear anybody talking about that? No. You hear everybody talking about how expensive stuff is because inflation actually smacks the poor. But when you start to lose value on the assets, that's what affects the well-off, right? The rich, those that have assets, that's when they start to wake up. See, they can afford a little bit of inflation, but when their real estate starts to go down or their businesses start to go down or their equity starts to go down, right? Their portfolios start to go down, their wealth starts to go down, they wake up. Oh shoot, honey. Whatever mainstream news they're listening to on the TV, right? You name they're listening to CNBC, they're listening to Fox Business, right? Charlie Gasparino. Honey, Charlie says that, we're getting wrecked here today. I just called the financial advisor and the 401k got slashed another 10%. It's not a joke. It's not a laughing matter, right? But that's reality. That's what real conversations are taking place right now. Now you combine that with the inflation, and this is why we have the tensions are so high right now. We have skirmishes in the streets right now here in America. This is internal chaos and part of a falling empire. This is part of a changing world order. Call it a new world order. Do they want a new world order? Do we want a great awakening? Is a reset here regardless? Is a fourth industrial revolution here regardless? Yes. Is a transfer of wealth here regardless? Yes. I pray that the good guys win. The good guys and gals. I pray. But boy, are they willing to play dirty. Boy, are they entrenched. This is the incumbents. This is why they sued us with Ripple. Can't wait to have financial freedom. Laura, that's what it's about. I'll tell you what, something that's been glamorized here recently has been entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you what, running your own business, it ain't all Instagram time. It ain't all flashy, happy, slappy. We're always going to be making money time. And that's what I mean by coming back down to reality. And I'm not trying to beat anybody up. It's just we have to be, it's time to sit up in our chair and take a defensive posture. I mean, if we can't have a solid defense, you can't go on a good offense. That's the thing about the best defense, right, is actually going to provide you with a good offense because it's going to free you up to take more risk because you've insulated what you've built and you've protected what you've built already. That's why we got to sit up on the edge of our seat, get plugged in here. Now, tonight, I may be leaning back a little bit because we sipping a little bit of adult beverage and having a good time and trying to enjoy this show that is getting pretty dang, pretty dang rough out there. But there is opportunity. That's why I still am excited every single day I get to pull up and talk to you guys and show up every single day and just think, man, if I can save one person today, it's worth it. You know, I come on here and I spend a couple hours with the family, with the community here. If I can save one person, it's worth it. And I know we're having a lot bigger impact. We're having a much bigger impact. And the reporting that I'm getting right now, the feedback that I'm getting right now in our private group and with folks that have been reaching out to, like I said, don't reach out to me on any of these public platforms. If you want to reach me, it's at my website, ZachRector.com, or if you're within our private group, message me on Patreon. That's about it. Okay. That is it. Email, website, go to ZachRector.com, or you're within Patreon, because we got to be careful right now. The scammers are running rampant, but get in touch with me. If you have any questions, you have any comments, how can I help you? And the feedback that I'm getting right now from everybody who's tapped in here is tremendous growth. Side hustles started, businesses growing, raises at their jobs, which I love to hear that. Because like I said, entrepreneurship's been glamorized. It ain't all sexy. It ain't all sunshine and rainbows. And that's the thing why I don't tell everybody, oh, you got it. Financial freedom can only be achieved through being your own boss. That's not the case. You can make significant money and you can get equity, being number 2, number 3. Number 10 at Facebook did fantastic. Number 10 at Google made some money. They made a bunch of money because they were not only getting paid a fat salary, they were also getting equity in the company. What you need to get on is a vessel to take you through this storm. At the bare minimum, we've got to get through this storm. Now, if you want to get rich and find gold on the other side, we got to be taking some different investments, right? We got to be finding the right vehicle that's not only going to make it through the storm, but going to find gold on the other side. The storm is here, no doubt. Many people will be left behind. May they rest in peace. May the portfolios here get saved. This is what breaks my heart. And, part of this reset needed to be done. Part of it was overvaluation. Part of it was getting fat and happy in our markets. And America is obese too, but I got my dad bod now, so I'm not here to body shame. I got a dad bod. So I don't care I don't care. But the point being, right, is that we've been having a good time. We've been abusing the reserve currency status, and the rest of the world is checking us, and they're not just checking us in the currency and the commodity war, but also militarily. And that's what we're about to see pop off here this weekend, in my opinion. Marie, thank you. Young Quavo says, owning your business is the hardest job, but most rewarding in the world. Been free for 30 years. Young Quavo, that's what it's about. The idea of getting your business to a point where it's bigger than just you, right? Something that's going to operate with or without you being there, something that's going to operate and become bigger than you is the ideal goal. Really get into that business quadrant. When you look at the cash flow quadrant that Robert Kiyosaki talked about, you have the employee quadrant, you have the self-employed or self-contracted, which is the high net income, doctors, lawyers, self-employed, but you're kind of like a solopreneur. And then you have the big business, or basically business that's bigger than you. And then you also have the investor quadrant. So we want to get to the right side of the quadrant, which is the business and the investor side. And I also, I don't knock the other side. Like I said, not everybody's meant to be their own boss. So if you can be a self-employed and have a solopreneur deal where it's just, you are the business, but you can make a good salary that you actually enjoy doing, that's what we want, right? To find ourselves not just showing up to work, but we actually enjoy what we're doing, and we're making a good living at it. That doesn't mean that we have to make $1 million a year, right? And the problem is that you're seeing where the valuations went. Just look at housing, for example. To buy the median house, to be able to afford the median house in America right now, you need to be bringing home 6 figures per year. $100,000 per year to afford the median house, which is only like, what, 400,000? 450,000 US dollars. You need to be making 100,000 plus per year. And do you think that you're going to have room to breathe? Right? If you just meet that threshold, and you think you're going to have much breathing room? You think inflation's going away and that situation's going to ease up? The weight's going to be lifted off your shoulders? See, this is why I've been saying the only way to make it through this inflation is to make more money. You cannot save your way through this inflation. It's not going away, and you can save money to buy assets. That's putting capital to the side. That's what I do. But when I go to save, I save silver. I don't save dollars. I save silver. I have capital requirements for my investments, i.e. cash on sideline. But I don't save cash, period. Right? Could you call it a savings account? Could you call whatever the hell you want to call it? That doesn't matter. That's for going into assets, real estate, equity, crypto. But when it comes to saving, what am I going to, what can I actually, do I actually want to hold on to 5 to 10 years from now? It's this guy right here, which, we've been scooping up at $25, sub $25 per ounce. And we're going to be laughing about that price a decade from now. I truly believe that we will be laughing about these prices. $25 per ounce silver, 50 cent XRP. What do we pump up to? 61 cents today? Dex, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. One of the real ones. Been with us since the very beginning. We've had folks in the community for over 2 years now. We have to get the crooks out of Washington. Amen. We have to rid our governments, local, state, and on the federal level, of the corruption. I'll tell you what, this United States show is unbelievable. The puppet show in DC is just crazy. It's falling apart right now. And my apologies. Why did Steve Scalise introduce the new speaker as the 45th Speaker of the House? Did you guys catch that? I don't know. There's just slip-ups. There's accidents. I don't know what it is. But it's a little fishy what's taking place over there in D.C. Young Quavo, I see you with the 5 spot. Young Quavo, God bless you, my friend. Zach, you'll be able to buy a house in 2025 for sure, bro. That's the thing is I find myself, I could, relocate to a lot of these markets where you guys live, where it's not absurd where I'm at. And I could buy a nice house, right? I could buy a house where I live now too. But I find myself, you look at the numbers, you just do the simple math, and the math ain't mathin', right? Pay $4,500 a month in your mortgage versus $3,300 a month in rent. Pay $4,000 a month in mortgage versus pay $3,000 a month in rent. You know what I'm saying? Pay $4,000 a month in mortgage versus pay $2,500 to $2,800 a month in rent. That's the reality in my market. That's how much more expensive it is. It's pretty crazy. It's like 30 to 50% more to buy than it is to rent. And the additional supply that's coming online is pretty incredible. And so that's why I see a reset's already underway where I live in my local market. And that's fine. I'm not waiting to actually buy the bottom. I just want to see these rates potentially cool off here. And for me, I'm not married to the idea of needing to own a home, but I do want to really start building up the wealth within the real estate asset class because it has tax advantages, and I need to be able to save on taxes. By the way, guys, if you want to get tapped in, we are going to be hosting a tactical wealth session on Saturday. And the tactical wealth session on Saturday is going to be on trusts, entities, LLCs, and kind of estate wealth planning at a more tactical level, kind of a more higher level. Last Saturday on our weekly call, I went kind of through some of the basics, some of the ways that I'm going to be avoiding taxes legally, right? Remember, the tax code is just a series of incentives. Make sure that you partner up with a good tax advisor, right? I'm not here to give you tax advice. Go get yourself a good accountant. Go get yourself a good tax advisor, and make sure that you are taking advantage of these incentives that they're giving you. They're telling you how to save money on taxes. They're telling you how to pay no taxes, like Bezos, Trump, Elon Musk, and all these guys that pay nothing in taxes per year. So we got to get partnered up. You have about 2 months left to change your situation. And so we're going to be having more sessions on this to finish off the year on tax savings and wealth strategy, because you got tax advantages and then you also have the protection. So we're protecting from taxes. That's one part of it. But then also asset protection needs to be considered, and different types of trust that we can use to pass it on down to our children, to pass it on down to somebody, and or to protect it from, just asset protection in general. Missy, I see you with the 10 spot as always. Missy, I was thinking about this the other day about how I miss doing the TikTok live late night sessions, because we'd get a little bit of music going in the background, wouldn't we? We'd have some vibers going. We'd be catching a vibe. We'd be talking about making money. It was a bull run, and so we were having a lot of fun. I miss having the music in the background, but YouTube would strike me down for the playing the music here. Maybe I could get some copyright free instrumentals in the background. We get some vibers going in the background. What do you say? Missy, God bless you. So glad to meet you, Missy. And we already have a few Discord meetups scheduled for next year. There's just so many benefits to the community that are going to be coming. If you guys want to learn more information about it, like I said, my website might be down over the night. I think that we're updating it right now, and we should be live by tomorrow. But this is a new website that's getting rolled out. I'm super excited about it. So make sure you guys check that out in the next 24, 48 hours. By the time you guys are seeing this, hopefully it's been updated. But nonetheless, get tapped in with us over there if you want to learn more about our exclusive group. It's all over there. And like I said, we already got a few meetups planned for next year, along with our weekly calls, along with having direct access to me, not having to worry about talking to a scammer or an impersonator. You can know that you're actually talking to me. So that's all over at my website, ZachRector.com. All right, folks, it's been an absolute pleasure here tonight. I'm going to wrap up this session. Thank you so much. And on the way out, if you can, please smash that thumbs up for me. It really helps us out. And then we're going to be back into routine tomorrow morning. So we're going to be dropping some fresh content. So hope you guys are ready for that. And like I said, everything else can be found at my website, ZachRector.com. I hope that you guys had a great night, and I will see you in the next one. God bless you all.